Welcome to the last segment of our presentation on menopause, which is sexuality in menopause, which is the last segment of this presentation. Sexuality in the aging woman is an integral part of every human being. Menopause is a normal physiological process. It comes with vasomotor, physical changing, psychological, and also sexual consequences. We live in the era of sexual revolution, where a woman or a human being becomes sexual still deep into menopause, which they call it sexual fulfillment throughout their lifetime. But this is not a new phenomenon. It occurs because of a lot of sources of sexual answers and books and reading, and more has been learned about sexuality in and outside menopause, such that sexual ignorance in this era, it breeds sexual anxiety. If we go into the Bible, Genesis 17, from verse 17 to 19, we hear of a man called Abraham and Sarah. They had a child at a very old age. I assume Sarah was already deep into menopause. And Sarah and Abraham had Isaac. Isaac was not born like Jesus out of the Holy Spirit. The Bible doesn't tell us that, which means Sarah and Abraham were still sexually active at that old age. So there's no reason why a menopause person in this era should be sexually active. Let's go through the sexual response cycle of a human being. Any disturbance in sexual response cycle will lead to sexual aberration, or any pain during sexual intercourse will lead to sexual dysfunction. Sexual response cycles start with a desire for sex, and a desire breeds arousal. And if arousal is there, then one is able to lead orgasm, and orgasm will lead you to sexual satisfaction. And it's a cycle that goes on and on like that. The female sexual dysfunction is a bidirectional relationship. It can either affect the quality of life of a woman, or even the quality of life of a woman can lead to female sexual dysfunction. And it peaks around midlife. Around menopause, that's where female sexual dysfunction reaches its peak. And more often, it's not an isolated incident. It's a partner related. It takes two to tango. If a woman has got sexual dysfunction, there's a component that a partner is contributing to that sexual dysfunction. So, in addressing sexual symptoms, one should be proactive, because patients seldom volunteer this. They keep it to themselves. But when you dig deep into it, you will find it. So giving a woman an opportunity to talk about sexual problem is an integral part of healthcare and can greatly improve the quality of the life of a woman. There are a lot of barriers to sexual education, which will be discussed later, which are norms, attitudes, upbringing, many things. So sexuality being an important component of a woman's life, it should be also be practiced deep in menopause. Menopause being a state of hormone deprivation of estrogen, the main hormone, and to some extent androgen, will lead to low desire. Many menopausal women has got low sexual desire, poor arousal, and dyspareunia, which is pain during sex, with an impaired orgasm, anorgasmia. That leads to reduced sexual satisfaction, which should be addressed. We address all the four on the right to lead to satisfaction. Menopause, how does it affect sexual function? Sexual disorders, which are psychological disorders, they predominantly show themselves very well during menopause. There's a combination of factors that affect sexuality. Well, first ones that a woman will have is sexual arousal disorders, which is poor responsiveness. She doesn't respond to any sexual advances. And because of this, it emanates to sexual desire disorder, which a woman has got reduced or absent libido because of androgen deficiency and estrogen deficiency. And that will lead to impaired sexual satisfaction, impaired orgasm, inability to attain orgasm. And with that, women tend to fantasize about it. They've got flashy memory of the past years when they were still sexually active, which means deep down, they wish they could perform like they were young. But because of hormonal deficiencies, the body cannot, but the mind wants, the body doesn't do. The things that affect a woman in menopause is the age, not the age of a woman alone, age of a man and a woman, both age of both. The education of the couple. How free are they to talk about sex? How free are they to engage about sex? What do they think sex is to them? This leads to interpersonal relationship. And the family tradition. How did you raise the family? From the family where you came from and the family that you have made you, it tend to interpret sexuality in a different way. That lead to how accessible is the partner. Many couples live in the same house, but they are not accessible to one another. Accessible, I mean, how free are you, the partner, as partners, to one another? The other thing that affects most menopausal women, because most menopausal women will find that they're either widowed or they're separated, they've got a change in sexual partner. A change in sexual partner can either affect sexuality positively or negatively. And the duration of the relationship, how do you know each other? How far do you know each other? The other one that also affects sexuality in menopause is the loyalty of the partner, the past or present loyalty. A couple in menopause with a history of previous cheating from one of the partners can affect sexuality deep into menopause, while actually the problem occurred 20 years while they were still young. In the socioeconomic status of the couple, a change in socioeconomic status has got very high impact. A couple which has been working and earning very well, and suddenly when they are in menopause and retired, the socioeconomic status changes to the worst. There's no more money, they have to change the lifestyle, can negatively affect sexuality of a woman. The cultural background, especially in black culture, we are brought in such a way that sex is shunned upon, which is affected by other culture or religious belief. Sex is regarded as a procreational act rather than a recreational activity, while actually sex has got both. It is both procreational and recreational. But religion and cultural background has made us people believe that this is what God made for procreation, but not for recreation. But this is not written like that, even in the Bible, that is always a recreational issue. It's what we perceived or we interpret it as. There are many factors that can affect sexuality and sexual function in menopause. and that can lead to sexual dysfunction. The physical change in the body, how the body changes, the change in the mental state of a woman when it reaches menopause, the mood changes, the depression, the partner's attitude, the whole couple interaction in menopause, the physical changes, I mean the presence of wrinkles and other physical changes that we'll discuss later. And social factors, interaction with the partner. How do you interact in old age? Do you still interact like we were young? Do you still walk together, hands to hand, hand in hand? Or the partner, one partner doesn't understand the mood swings in another partner. Most especially, a man doesn't understand the mood swings that a woman goes through, and that lead to separation. They live together, but actually they are physically and emotionally separated. We call them together but separated, such that they can even decide that they can divide their bedroom into two because of the partner, the male partner doesn't understand the physiological changes that happen in the female, and the female also doesn't understand what's changing in her body because of lack of hormone. She's got these mood swings, chlorosis, dyspareunia, anorgasmia, poor libido, and all those changes that happened because of estrogen deficiencies. The age of spouses, I've already said, and hormonal changes are the ones that bring out all these things. And the more the duration, the worse the situation. And the type of menopause also affect that. If it's a natural menopause, the effects are gradual. They come gradual. But in induced menopause, for a woman like, for instance, a woman who had hysterectomy and oophorectomy, they become abrupt and sudden. And some people who on chronic medication also can affect sexuality, most especially in men. Most medications in men can lead to impotence, or some medications in women can lead to reduced sexual dysfunctions. That will lead to a husband problem. Husband problem also can reciprocate into affecting the woman's sexuality. The physical activity of a couple also affect their sexuality. The more physical they are, the less sexual dysfunction. Another phenomenon that happens during menopause is what you call empty nest syndrome. When children are all out of the house, you're all two of you. How do you interact? The interaction that is there need to be carefully managed in order not to affect sexuality, because now you are only two in the house. It's an empty nest, and it should be like you were when you were still courting before, but because of hormonal and psychological changes that happens in both of you, even illnesses, lack of energy, can affect sexuality in menopause if not managed properly. Women in menopause usually have got a lot of affective disorders, anxiety and depression, and these are brought about by many things. It might be anxiety about loyalty of the partner. Loyalty of the partner not at the present, previous loyalty. Couples that cheated while young, they have got to reap the consequences of that infidelity deep into menopause, because you can only forgive, but you can't forget. And women don't forget easily. They can forgive, but they can't forget easily. And previous histories of STI, they also lead to anxiety in menopause. Then this is inversely related to the intensity of menopausal symptoms. A woman with a lot of hot flashes, a lot of menopausal structural changes, has got this anxiety. Even a woman with urogenital aging, with vaginal atrophy, kyphoscoliosis, arthritis, and other illnesses, they've got this anxiety that makes them stay away from the partner. The feeling about the sexual partner, how do you feel about it? A health. If the partner is a ailing person, that affects the woman just switches off. If the partner is more of a healthy person, also cannot be incongruent with the expectation of the female partner, and the past experience with the present partner, can also affect sexuality. Like I've said, that previous cheating in a relationship will affect the sexuality deep into menopause, which might be 10 to 20 years after the occurrence has occurred. In men, we have got what we call Adam. Adam means androgen deficiency of the aging male. As the male is aging, you find that his sexual vigor reduces to a level where the woman sympathizes. If there's love and affection, the woman sympathizes with that. That makes the woman switches off, and she goes into a sexual dysfunction, which is psychological but not intentional. The level of self-confidence in a woman also needs how the woman feels like what she is. If she still thinks she's still a good, gorgeous woman, will affect her sexuality positively. But if she feels she's now dilapidated and old and cannot do anything, what she feels about her body, she thinks she's less of a woman than she used to be before. Maybe because of, for example, perineal lacerations that she had during live birth with vaginal laxity, or maybe she's got urinary incontinence, maybe incontinence during sexual intercourse, which is coital incontinence. She got pelvic organ prolapse. Her self-esteem about her body and sexuality can also affect her sexual attitude. The feeling about her body, a feeling of whether she's attractive or not. If you look at herself into a mirror and found these wrinkles occurring, the perception about her body in sex also affect her performance and her sexuality. She goes into a disorder called body dysmorphic disorder, concentrating on minor changes that are age-related in her body. That makes a woman feel that she's not as sexual as she used to be, so she doesn't worth to be sexual. She's a woman. So the common menopausal complaints about sexuality is reduced sexual desire, which is regarded as hypoactive sexual desire disorder. They present with a disorder that they've got no desire for. They don't even think about it. The cause of this is because of menopausal estrogen deficiency, this genital dryness, dyspareunia, painful sex, poor arousal, and poor responsive to stimuli lead to this hypoactive sexual desire disorder. And all of them, at the peak of it, is that even if she engages, she is unable to reach orgasm. She has got orgasmic disorder, which might be anatomical, neural, because of hormones deficiency. All of it will lead to impaired sexual satisfaction. In the beginning in the sexual response cycle, the end point is sexual satisfaction. If all the process doesn't lead to sexual satisfaction, then the woman will go into hypoactive sexual desire disorder, and will may negatively affect the relationship. The body image, which I said usually is body dysmorphic disorder, is when the woman looks at herself, sees these wrinkles, she thinks she's no more that beauty that used to be. She looks at, found an apron belly, pelvic organ prolapse, perineal lacerations and tears, incontinence. She thinks she's a sexual failure. She's less of a feminine than she is. She tends to have decreased sexual desire and interest, and that way she thinks she's letting a partner down, and this affects her self-esteem. She's got low self-esteem, and she feels inadequate and insecure even in bed, and that makes her feel frustrated, if concerned, and become unhappy and disappointed, and thinks she's a hopeless human being, and she's troubled by that and becomes bitter about it. That can lead her to become depressed about what she feels about her body, this body dysmorphic disorder. The social factors that are going to affect sexuality in menopause is knowledge and experience about the body and sex, and the perceived health status. If you think a woman thinks that she is old, while physically and anatomically she's not that old as she thinks, can also affect that. Even the lifestyle that she lives and the social expectation, most of society expectations. In black population, usually there are certain expectations that people conform to from nowhere, that they don't think they need to walk hand in hand, they don't have to hug each other, they don't have to kiss each other in public. These are expectations that are social norms that are not written anywhere. The other thing that can affect sexuality in menopause is previous relationship, previous divorce, or previous death. People who in previous divorces or previous death, and they go into another relationship. In that relationship, they don't bond very well. That partner becomes what you call a replacement partner. When they are with this partner intimately, they think about the previous partner, about the dead partner, is then that they can enjoy. Or they think about the divorced partner, is then that they can enjoy. Not the present partner, because the present partner actually is not a partner, is a replacement of the previous partner, either the dead partner or the divorced partner. If there's a replacement partner, a woman went into a relationship because he lost the other partner. This new partner is not the true partner, it's a replacement of the other partner. And racial and ethnic differences also come into play. If people are of the same ethnic grouping and same racial grouping, they tend to have less sexual problem than if they are different. Substance abuse, it goes without saying that it negatively affects sexuality, more especially alcohol and tobacco abuse. We're looking at this, we have discussed this, that the wrinkled apple is the estrogenized genital. The smooth apple is the hypoestrogenic menopausal genital, which will lead to pain, irritation, dryness, and itching during menopause, which negatively affect sexuality. Let's consider the age of the partner, because as I said, it takes two to tango. You can't discuss sexuality in female without considering the partner. This is a male life cycle. If you look at the age from 13 up to 31, the horse is jumping. If you look around 41 to 49, it starts to tire. At least it can still run up to 59 years. But from 60 onwards, horse is really tired. You need to hit it with Viagra or something for it to run. But about 65 and 70, even if you hit it with Viagra, the force is no more there. So you must look at the partner, which age he is. You don't expect a partner of 67, 70 years to perform like 30 to 31 partner. And if a woman understands that, then there's congruency in the couple. That's why it's advisable that when people marry, the age difference should not be that great, because otherwise the male partner will get tired before the female partner, or vice versa. And that can lead to this together but separated. The management of sexuality in menopause is cause specific. What causes it? Treat what causes it. If it's a psychological problem, treat it. If it's an anatomical problem, treat it with HRT and individualize, because each person will come with his own problem, which are caused by different problems. And the first approach is to be conservative, not to be aggressive about it, because most of them are self-correcting, or what is perceived as sexual aberration or impaired sexual function might be a sexual function appropriate for that age group. Because they are 70, they want to perform like 32. And with conservative management, they can accept that at 70, we'll go once in a fortnight, we will have to hug each other. It must be palliative about it. But if it is severe and affect the couple negatively, so you may be aggressive such that you can look for curative to the problem. The approach might be psychotherapy, which is sex therapy, which might include hypnotism. Some people will include HRT and testosterone, which is hormonal therapy. And the improvement in general health of a couple is important. As I said, exercise and activity increase blood flow to the whole body. And if those who have got a problem, genital problem like pelvic organ prolapse, incontinence, vaginal laxity, and garrulity, pelvic floor training and surgical treatment, which is organ specific, might really improve the life of the couple. Recently, there are a lot of gadgets or treatments out there for intimate health, the genital intimate health, which increases the blood flow to the genitalia, increase the nerve sensitivity. In that way, when the blood flow increases to the genitalia, then you've got no dryness during sexual activity. And if the nerve sensitivity is increased, the ability to reach orgasm becomes easier. And if the vaginal wall is thick, then it develops those rugae, then the stretch is good, there's no pain, and there's mucus secretion, there's no friction, and then the vaginal diameter, as the vaginal wall increases, the vaginal diameter reduces, then the vaginal become more tighter, and that improves sexual satisfaction and self-confidence in the woman and the partner. Here I want to show you the slide of a radio frequency machine that is used recently. It's called Ultrafem 360. How it treats the genitals, especially post-menopausal. With a 160 radio frequency treatment, the whole vaginal area is being treated. As it's treated, there is increase in blood flow to the vagina as you see the vessels coming. And there's nerve proliferation, so that nerve sensitivity increases. And with time, the vaginal wall becomes thicker. As it becomes thick, it reduces the size of the vaginal canal. That's what the people call it vaginal type. So ultimately, improvement in sexuality in menopause increase the quality of life and the quality of the relationship. And most women can have sexual satisfactory relationship from kissing and intimate touching than penetrative intimacy. It's not necessary to have penetrative intimacy in menopause to have a satisfactory sexual relation. It's a matter of mind and body communication. And I think this was the last segment of our presentation. And thank you very much for listening to this. And I think you have earned a little. I hope you have gained something out of previous presentation, including this one. And I hope you have enjoyed them. Stay blessed. Thank you.